The Living Zen-podcast is a gift from the members and associates of the Victoria Zen Centre to you. If you enjoy it, please be sure to let your friends know about Living Zen. If you'd like to support our community, download the Living Zen-podcast app for iPod, iPhone, and Android. One of the most meaningful ways to show your support is by becoming a part of our Sangha as an associate. Your commitment of $10 a month will ensure that offerings like the Living Zen podcast and our online e-Zendo will continue to be available around the world to everyone with an interest in truly living Zen. To become an associate, please visit our website at zenwest.ca and click on Become an Associate. Many more Zen Talks are available for purchase on iTunes and Amazon.com. Just search for Venerable Eshu Martin. These talks are also available for free on our website to all members and associates of the Victoria Zen Centre. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. Most people call what we're doing tonight Zen meditation. But meditation is a Western word that points to something other than what it is we do in Zen practice. The Japanese word for what we're doing here is zazen, which is just a Japanese pronunciation of the Chinese word chana, which is just the Chinese pronunciation of the Sanskrit word dhyana. And dhyana is something that is often translated differently by different people. But what I'd like to offer is the translation that I use most often, which is dissolution. Dissolution or melting. From the time that we're very young, when we're very young, we're very fluid. When we're just babies, we don't really have an I to speak of. We change from day to day, from moment to moment. Sometimes much to the chagrin of our parents, one day we like one thing, and the next day we don't like that anymore. We like something else. We're just transforming and changing all the time. No habits have developed. But as we grow up and get older, more and more we begin to familiarize ourselves with patterns of behavior and patterns of relationship. We begin to become accustomed to things, and we start to make choices, things that we like and things that we don't like. And we begin to transform from this experience of life in which we're intimately engaged moment to moment in a very fluid way, always surprised at what arises, taking each moment fresh. We transform into habit people. We begin to form what we call in Zen, I. We begin to think of this I that we've created, this bundle of habits and patterns and preferences, things we like to avoid. We like to think of it as somehow being solid. What's on the inside of this package of things is what I call I. And what's on the outside of that package of things is the world or other, outside. And although even as young children, we're very sensitive, we're very aware that this is kind of not really accurate. It's not an accurate way to describe things. This barrier between what's inside and what's outside is fluid. And yet as we grow older, as we become more mature, we begin to make this boundary between inside and outside more and more rigid. When we become teenagers, we spend a lot of time really trying to clarify who we are, who I am, trying to figure out what kind of a person am I? What kind of things do I like to do? What kind of people do I like to associate with? Some people go on trips to different countries. We have a term for this. They're like looking for them, trying to find themselves, trying to clarify who it is that we think we are. As we continue to grow up, many people find that we become clearer and clearer. We become more and more able to define what it is that we like, what it is that we don't like. What kind of things do we do? What kind of things don't we do? What kind of things do we really enjoy and delight in? What are the things that scare us or that embarrass us? And at some point in our lives, we find that this sphere or this boundary, wherever we establish it, isn't one that is expanding. Quite the opposite. The more rigidly we define ourselves, who it is that we think we are, we find that what we will do, where we are comfortable, what we take joy in, seems to be getting smaller and smaller. And those things that we want to avoid, places that we won't go, things that we won't do, the things that scare us seem to become more and more numerous with each passing day. Buddhism and Zen offers us this position or this proposition which says that this thing, this boundary, this structure or collection of habits and ideas and preferences that we call ourself is provisional. But that it doesn't reflect our nature. It doesn't reflect who we truly are. Buddhism teaches us that our nature and the nature of all things in this vast cosmos are one. That just like waves on the surface of the ocean, each individual, each tree and each rock, each flower, each car, while we can recognize it, while we can distinguish it, arises from this single origin, this one nature. I think for most of us, we have glimpses of this. When we're doing something that we enjoy, when we're doing something that we're so proficient in, that we, for moments, lose ourselves. Whether that's playing music or making art, acting on a stage maybe, riding a bicycle, making love. There are these moments in which our thinking about ourself, what we like and what we don't like, stop. And there is this opening in which who it is that we are and what it is that we're doing and who it is that we're doing it with, or doing it in the presence of, unifies. We lose time. We lose our sense of space. And there is only the unfolding activity. Then at once, this thought arises. It's like, this is really cool. And immediately, all of these differences arise simultaneously again together. We're born. The activity separate from us is born. But I think for all of us, these moments are very precious, magical. Buddhism teaches that this is an awakening. These are small glimpses at the kind of twofold nature of what it is to be in this cosmos. That we have this differentiated side. And we have a unified experience. They don't follow one after the other, but they're manifest simultaneously. The depths of the ocean, the wateriness of the ocean, and the waves manifest simultaneously. The difference is our awareness. For most of us, we just go through our lives believing in one side. We just go through our lives trying to more and more clearly define who it is that we think we are. Because we hang on to this idea so strongly, we can look around us and see this world with all of its differences and think, I'm missing something. There's something that I'm lacking. Or the opposite, we can think, oh, I've got too much of this, I need to get rid of that. Ugh. And these are symptoms of a perspective which is fixated on this idea of the self, which is separate from all things in this universe. The proposition, or the pointer that Buddhism offers, is that we can awaken to both sides of this experience, to both sides of this manifestation. We can stop being led by our noses, thinking that this body, this skin bag, as it's often referred to in Buddhist literature, isn't all that we are. That we can actually experience for ourselves what it is to know, what it is to realize or to awaken to this one nature. You don't have to believe me. This is a wonderful aspect of Buddhist practice. In fact, you're strongly encouraged not to believe me, but to investigate this matter yourself. What we do here in this zendo, this practice of jhana, dissolving as we sit together, is to pay attention to our breathing. And as we breathe in, to allow ourselves to arise in distinction from one another. And as we exhale, to experience what it is to dissolve, to melt away, to empty out, to manifest as one. This back and forth, this activity is utterly ceaseless, arising and dissolving over and over and over again. And our practice in this Zendo is to be present with it, to be aware of it. All of the activities that we do offer this opportunity to become aware of this activity. When we chant, there is this strong pull to unification, to allowing the subject self, the self which we hold separate, to dissolve. But even as we do so, we find that we fade in and out, that there are moments where we're utterly clear in our chanting. And there are moments where we're thinking, oh, is my voice right? Am I saying this right? In the walking practice, this same pattern or this same opportunity is offered. Sometimes we're walking in step, and if we can just allow ourselves to embrace this activity, to let go into the activity of walking, we can immediately experience what it is to be the activity of the universe as walking. We find after a few moments, after a few steps, we begin to think, what's next? And we become aware of subject-object. This is okay. This is the natural activity. One of the functions of Zen practice, of jhana, zazen, is for us to become more and more aware of the spherical activity of this cosmos. Our culture, our society, our family, human relationship, material possession, all of these serve to affirm, serve to emphasize this one side, this one-sided activity, plus differentiation, difference, uniqueness. And so we can be lulled or fooled into thinking that this is all that there is. Just these discrete, separate bodies bumping into one another all over the planet, all over the world. But this practice of zazen, jhana, dissolution, offers us the opportunity to sit, to bring ourselves as ice cubes into this one container, and to allow ourselves to melt thoroughly, so that we can experience for ourselves, so that we can know for ourselves this experience, this one unified nature. When we have this experience, how we go forward into our lives, how we manifest in relationship with other human beings, even with other objects, in other situations and environments, is transformed. Because we have this experience for ourselves, we can't think that we're separate anymore. We can't think that the activities that we do don't impact everything in this cosmos. And as a result, our lives change. Our relationships change. Our work changes. Zazen is not just a practice of relaxation. This practice of Zazen, dissolution, is the most powerful tool for transformation that I've ever come across in my life. So thank you for coming to use it. Thank you for coming to practice it. Thank you for coming to experience your own nature. Thanks for listening to the Living Zen podcast. If you follow Living Zen through iTunes, I would very much appreciate it if you would take a moment to let me know what you think about it by rating or reviewing the podcast, so that new listeners can also hear what you have to say. Thank you for your time and for your support.